September 3rd, Beijing, Tiananmen Square. For the first time ever, China unveiled the DF-5C intercontinental ballistic missile. With a range of 20,000 kilometers and the ability to strike 12 different cities at once. 50,000 soldiers march in perfect formation. Tanks and missiles thunder past. Fighter jets streak across the sky in tight precision. But this is no ordinary military display. It is China's Victory Day Parade, marking the 80-year anniversary of Japan's surrender in World War II. And in the front row, watching closely, were some of the most powerful leaders on Earth. Xi Jinping, commanding his troops with pride. Vladimir Putin, signaling a growing Russia-China alliance. Kim Jong-un, nodding in approval as weapons rolled by. And even India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, present as the world looked on with concern. It showed off hypersonic anti-ship missiles, designed to sink U.S. aircraft carriers in seconds. Stealth drones, robotic submarines, and even laser weapons capable of melting missiles in mid-air. This was not just a parade. It was a message to the world. A message that China is no longer hiding its power. A message that says, we are ready. Our time has come. In this video of Modulus Now, we break down the weapons that shocked the world at China's Victory Day Parade and explain why the United States, once the undisputed military superpower, may already be falling dangerously behind. Among the deadliest systems unveiled were China's hypersonic anti-ship missiles. Models like the YJ-15, YJ-17, YJ-19, and YJ-20. But the star of the show was the YJ-19, a cruise missile powered by a scramjet engine, capable of traveling at 5 times the speed of sound, changing course mid-air, and flying at low altitudes to evade detection. Why? Because this isn't just another cruise missile. It's powered by a scramjet engine, which means it can fly at over 5 times the speed of sound. At that speed, a missile launched from the Chinese coast could reach a U.S. aircraft carrier in the South China Sea in just minutes. And here's the terrifying part. The YJ-19 can change direction mid-flight, weaving unpredictably through the air. It can skim just above the ocean's surface, making it almost invisible to radar. By the time it appears on screens, it's already too late. The U.S. Navy is still the most advanced in the world. The U.S. Navy relies on its fleet of 11 aircraft carriers, each one a floating city, carrying thousands of sailors, dozens of fighter jets, and costing nearly $13 billion apiece. For decades, these carriers have been the backbone of American power projection. Wherever they sail, they send a message. The U.S. is here. But now hypersonic missiles like the YJ-19 change everything. A single missile, costing maybe a few $1,000,000, could sink a $13 billion carrier in seconds. That's not just a weapon, that's a strategic equalizer. And here's where the U.S. is lagging behind. China has already fielded these hypersonic systems. They're deployed, tested, and combat ready. The United States? Still in the testing phase. Only a handful of hypersonic trials have been conducted, and many have failed. Washington is scrambling to catch up, but by most estimates, China has a 5 to 10-year lead. This means that right now, in any confrontation near Taiwan or the South China Sea, American carriers, the crown jewels of U.S. power, could suddenly become the world's largest targets. And that's exactly the message China wanted to send at this parade. Missiles may dominate the headlines, but the true revolution in warfare is happening underwater and in the skies. And China knows it. At the Victory Day Parade, Beijing unveiled its arsenal of unmanned war machines. These are not just prototypes. They are the future of combat. First, let's start underwater. China revealed a new generation of extra-large unmanned submarines. One of them, the AJX-002, stretches nearly 60 feet in length. It can travel silently beneath the oceans, powered by advanced propulsion, while carrying surveillance gear or even torpedoes. Analysts believe these drones are stealth-capable, meaning they can glide undetected under enemy waters, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. On the surface, China showed off unmanned boats capable of operating in swarms, overwhelming defenses with sheer numbers. But the real game changers are drones in the air. China unveiled at least 4 advanced aerial drones, each designed for different roles: reconnaissance, precision strikes, and even aerial dogfights. The highlight? The GJ-11 Loyal Wingman. This drone is stealth-shaped, designed to fly alongside manned jets, sharing data in real time and even intercepting enemy missiles. Think of it as a robotic wingman, one that never tires, never hesitates, and can sacrifice itself to protect a manned pilot. But China didn't stop there. 2 other drones caught everyone's eye, because they didn't look like drones at all. They looked like 6th-generation fighter jets. At nearly 16 meters long, the same size as a J-10 fighter, these drones are rumored to be supersonic and capable of high-altitude combat. If true, it means China is on the brink of fielding drones that can outfight manned jets. And while the US is still testing concepts like NGAD, next-generation air dominance, China appears to be moving from theory to reality, faster. This tells us one thing: China has learned from recent wars. In Ukraine, drones changed the battlefield, spotting tanks, destroying artillery, swarming positions. China is watching closely. And now it is preparing for its own drone-heavy, AI-driven warfare strategy. Unlike the US, which debates over ethics, privacy, and military budgets, Beijing is moving full speed ahead. China's systems are already being integrated with artificial intelligence. They are building swarms of autonomous vehicles, in the air, on the sea, and below it. If war comes tomorrow, the first wave may not be soldiers or pilots. It may be machines, faster and cheaper. No great power is complete without a nuclear triad, and China made sure the world noticed. When China rolled out its nuclear arsenal during the parade, it wasn't just showing weapons. It was showing the world that it has achieved the holy grail of nuclear strategy, the nuclear triad. That means the ability to launch nuclear strikes from land, sea, and air. This ensures survivability, second strike capability, and global reach. Let's break it down. First, land-based missiles. The centerpiece was the DF-5C intercontinental ballistic missile, a monster of a weapon with a range of nearly 20,000 kilometers. It can carry up to 12 independently targetable nuclear warheads. That means one missile, launched once, could wipe out 12 different cities on separate continents. Next came the DF-61, a road-mobile ICBM. Unlike silo-based missiles, this one is mounted on massive trucks, making it extremely hard to locate and destroy. It has a range of 12,000 kilometers and can carry up to 7 nuclear warheads. Mobility equals survivability, and survivability equals deterrence. Even if enemies strike first, missiles like the DF-61 can hide in mountains, forests, or underground roads, ready to fire back. Then there's the DF-31BJ. This is China's silo-based ICBM, with a range over 11,000 kilometers. Unlike the DF-61, this one carries a single nuclear warhead. But its advantage is stability and readiness. Together, these land-based missiles form the backbone of China's nuclear deterrent. Now let's move to the oceans. China's JL-3 submarine-launched ballistic missile has a range between 9,000 and 12,000 kilometers. Launched from nuclear-powered submarines, it can hit targets as far as the continental United States. Without warning, it carries multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, which means it can strike multiple cities in a single launch. With these missiles hidden beneath the seas, China ensures that even if its land bases are destroyed, retaliation is guaranteed. And finally, the air leg of the triad. China unveiled the JL-1 air-launched nuclear missile. Fired from the H-6N bomber, this missile has a range of about 8,000 kilometers. That means from Beijing, it could strike New York, Washington, or Los Angeles. It's also dual-capable, designed for both nuclear and anti-ship roles. Missiles, submarines, and drones may dominate today's wars. But tomorrow's battles could be decided by beams of light. At the parade, China unveiled its mysterious LY-1 laser system, a weapon designed not to launch missiles, but to melt them in the sky. According to Chinese state media, this system can generate a beam so powerful that it can burn through incoming warheads, drones, and even stealth aircraft, all at the speed of light. No sound, no explosion, just a silent beam that instantly destroys its target. And it's not just lasers. China is also investing in AI-powered electronic warfare, robotic dogs for urban combat, and swarm control systems that can coordinate hundreds of drones at once. Even in space, China is rumored to be developing satellite-based directed energy weapons capable of disabling enemy satellites without a single shot fired. All of this signals one thing. Beijing is not only preparing for the wars of today, it is designing the weapons of tomorrow. Weapons that blur the line between science fiction and reality. Weapons that could make America's trillion-dollar hardware, carriers, jets, and even satellites, obsolete in a matter of seconds. It may sound unbelievable, but the reality is this. The US, Israel, Russia, and now China are all racing to develop battlefield-ready laser systems. Whoever masters this technology will dominate both the skies and the future of defense. The US has tested ship-mounted laser systems like the LAWS, laser weapon system, but their power output has been limited. Capable of taking down drones or small boats, not ballistic missiles. China, however, claims the LY-1 is already capable of anti-missile operations. If true, this would mean China is ahead of the US in weaponizing directed energy, potentially leapfrogging decades of missile defense technology. Imagine this. In the future, when hypersonic missiles streak across the sky, instead of interceptors, armies will use lasers, traveling at the speed of light, unlimited ammunition as long as power flows. The side that perfects this first will dominate the skies. So what's the real message behind this extravagant display? First, China is declaring itself the new global arms hub. These weren't just weapons. They were advertisements for international buyers like India, Myanmar, and Pakistan. Second, China is preparing to face off with the United States. By focusing on hypersonic anti-ship missiles, Beijing is signaling, your aircraft carriers are no longer safe. Don't test us in Taiwan. And third, China is showing that it is future-ready. Its heavy investments in drones, AI, cyber warfare, and electronic weapons prove that Beijing is planning decades ahead. This isn't just a parade, it's a blueprint for the next world war. For the first time in modern history, the United States risks falling behind in military innovation. The country that once set the standard is now watching as China leapfrogs ahead, faster, cheaper, and more aggressive. This isn't just about missiles or drones. It's about the future of war itself. A future where AI, hypersonics, and autonomous systems decide who dominates the world stage. On this channel, Modulus Now, we also explore the next generation of technology, from military superweapons to the future gadgets and innovations that will shape our lives. If you want to stay ahead, if you want to see the future before it arrives, then this is your channel. Subscribe to Modulus Now, hit the bell icon, and join us as we uncover the tech, the power, and the forces that are reshaping our world. Because the future is closer than you think, and you don't want to miss what's coming next.